Bundestag members in recent weeks. They have visited Israel. It was amazing to see them all marching in. The Bundestag was in recession, and they just all came to Israel at the same time. We spoke at length about it. Germany is expected to get about 1.2 million refugees in the coming year. Just Germany. In the German case, they are able, it's a very big country and a very big industrial country. So they are sort of able to make sure that they have some kind of employment. And I think in the German case, they also feel kind of responsible. They are truly the strongest country in Europe nowadays. So they feel, I think that's the sense that I get, that they feel more responsible to do something about it. It's really, truly a human tragedy of a magnitude that it's very difficult to watch. The Greek ambassador to Israel is a friend of mine. I'm heading the Parliamentary Friendship Caucus for Israel and Greece because my family origins, my other side, my parental side, comes from Greece. And he was actually a writer before he became the ambassador, and he wrote a book speaking about those waves of refugees. It's amazing. He wrote it in 2012. Nobody expected anything like that to happen. So it's not that I truly have any kind of solutions, but I think the world cannot ignore what's going on in several of those countries. Syria is just one example. The Kurds in northern part of Turkey. A terrible massacre, really terrible massacre, and the world is standing by. And in that respect, Putin is going stronger, and I'm not so sure it's for the benefit of the world. And he has much more, you know, we say that in Israel, I say that in Israel, everybody needs their leaders always to muscle up, you know, to be like this. I'm not sure what the world should be doing when it comes to these refugees, other than real involvement of the stronger countries within those countries. And that's not trivial. We saw, for instance, in Egypt, nowadays we have a very good regime in Egypt. But initially, when Hosni Mubarak came down, it wasn't for the benefit of the Middle East, because Egypt is such a strong, important country in the region. Nowadays, from my perspective, Egypt is one of the most important partners that Israel has. It is saying they want progress, they want economic progress. They know they can only reach that with the help of Israelis and Americans, mostly with Americans, but they are very, very much afraid by the fundamentalism, which is also caused, we cannot ignore the fact that a lot of their farmers in the far parts of Egypt are very poor. When you don't eventually, what you realize is that when you don't educate people, they find themselves ignorant and with no ability to make a progress anywhere. So what can the world do when it comes to those countries? It's not one country. What do you do with Turkey, that once again chose Erdogan as their president? What do you do with that? What do you do with that? And they can see, you know, because Israel and Turkey had such a magnificent relationship and economic relationships. Not to say that the Israeli tourist was probably one of the most profitable branches in all of Turkey. But it's really frightening. So the world needs to decide how, and the world, it is the strongest countries, because if you look at the Security Council, look at how many resolutions were in the Security Council, or how many discussions were regarding Israel. I advise you to check how many discussions were in regards to any other country in the world. Very few. Very, very few, I promise you. And it's not that I feel, you know, with my back to the wall. I'm just saying that Israel is not the solution for everything. We need to take responsibility for some of the things. It's true. I say it in a very diplomatic way. Wait a minute. See, Prime Minister didn't always make the right choices, from my perspective, okay? That's how I see it. But still, I would also say Israel is not the solution for everything. And the world keeps looking at us for, if the Palestinian-Israeli conflict is solved, everything is solved in the world. No, what's happening in Europe is proof that it's not. ISIS is proof that it's not. So I gave a very long answer to a very short question, but it's probably because I don't know how to answer you. Just a second, I'll give someone else a turn and then I'll come back to you.
Yeah, I was just wondering how in Israel, if they realize the dwindling of support by many Jews in the United States for some of the actions taken by the government in Israel, and I think you talk about Iran or whatever. I don't think it was the Iran issue. I think it was what Netanyahu coming here did to get involved in our politics.
I agree with you. I was being a diplomat.
Yeah, I think the settlements issue is a big issue, and I think it's very concerning that, especially the young people on the college campuses, that they're not only losing their support, but are turning against Israel, which is a major issue. And I don't understand why, because the Israelis also voted Netanyahu back in.